LeBron pretty much shut Dillon Brooks up during the Lakers-Memphis playoff series last April, and definitely hastened Brooks' departure from the Grizzlies. Now Brooks is a Rocket, and ahead of tonight's Lakers visit to Houston, Brooks was at it again. Here's what he had to say.
Ready to lock him up. He's shooting the ball well, he's playing well, so I'm just there to make him tired, make him get into that, fourth quarter early.
Okay, Richard, should Brooks, I'm sorry, you ready? Hang on one second. Should Brooks have learned his lesson and avoided provoking LeBron or poking the bear again?
Yeah, I mean, some people never learn their lesson, Skip. Some people never learn their lesson, and it seems like he's a glutton for punishment at this point. I'm sure it doesn't affect LeBron James either way because, it's a pebble to a mountain at this point in time in their careers, their respective careers. Not that Dillon Brooks isn't a good player in the NBA. He's been solid. He shoots the ball well from three, plays pretty good defense. But he got taught a lesson, and in that series, his teammates were pretty much all but saying, shut up and leave him alone. Because we all have to deal with it. Every time he talked, LeBron answered, and they lost the next game or the next two games in the series. And so I think you would have thought he learned his lesson because after that, Memphis got rid of him, and he was a pretty good player for that organization. I think he was a good fit. I thought he fit in with their culture and what they wanted to do. But in a playoff series where they needed him to play better, he did not, and he kept antagonizing LeBron James in a way that kept allowing him to go off and allowing other players to go off and motivating that team and giving them locker room and billboard material for them to continue to be frustrated and go off on Dillon Brooks. So I don't know, man. I'm a trash talker, so I got no problem with trash talking, but certain players, you got to get the point.
Okay, real quick before you go, Keyshawn. Richard, what's the difference in your trash talk and Dillon Brooks' trash talk?
Because you trash talk people that are on a level with you.
Yeah.
Skip. This man ain't on the same level with you. That man is up here off the screen, and you down here. And so if the talent level was the same, and you're talking, if Kevin Durant was trash talking LeBron James, and you're sitting there, you're like, okay, well, Kevin Durant could drop 40 at any time, any place. If you're talking Steph Curry talking crap to LeBron, you're like, okay, Steph Curry can go off at any time, but you're Dillon Brooks. You're not Steph. You're not LeBron. If Giannis are a lot of people in this league can say something to LeBron James at this point in time. Luka could say something. John Morant, if he wanted to say something, then those guys have the talent, the ability to go out there and put their money where their mouth is. I don't think Dillon Brooks has shown he can.
I think when you talk like you just said, Richard, about being on the same level, usually when you're on the same level with somebody, the respect is there to another degree. So you're not going to see Luka talking wild to LeBron, and you're not going to see Kevin Durant talking wild to LeBron because they're at the same level for the most part, right? They just, the respect level is different. When you are Dillon Brooks, you have a lack of respect for somebody like LeBron James, and you've displayed that multiple times, even to the point last year. And correct my mind if I'm missing something here, Skip. I remember Dillon Brooks elbowing LeBron in the you-know-whats at some point, and I think he got ejected out of that game. So when you start looking at those sort of things, you got to say to yourself, wait a minute, man. You continue to antagonize this man. All this man does is goes out there. He's the 6th seed. He erases you as the 2 seed. He continues to go to the Western Conference Final with his team while you now don't know your future and where you may land, and when he knows his future, and his is in Los Angeles. So LeBron is a bigger individual in this case in terms of the way LeBron played in the postseason last year. He averaged 20, 11, and 5, I think it was, which was slightly down from his regular season average, but that's okay. They went ahead and won those games that they were supposed to win, knocking out the Grizzlies in 6. I'm LeBron James. I'm like Richard. I'm going to say something back, though. Even though you smaller than me and you are a pebble, I might just say you better be lucky I'm still in the NBA playing, because I would buy the Rockets and cut your ass. That's just how I come. I'm just saying. So you got to be careful when you messing with a dude like this because he got what you like, Skip. If you notice, in this last month or so, LeBron has been a little chirpy toward people. He's been chirpier now than he has in the past. For whatever reason, he is clapping back more to me in this part of the season early than I've ever seen LeBron clapping back at people. So he's a lot like MJ in a way, Skip, very petty. So you better be careful what you're saying to him and when you're saying it.
He's chirpy and he's clapping back because they're clapping at him. It's dog eat dog out there, and they're starting to make little snide remarks under their breath about.
That was never something that bothered him in the past.
Okay, but remember, Dylan Brooks did bother him because, remember, this happened after Game 2 last year, that Dylan Brooks flat out called him publicly old. Remember that? He said, he's old.
Yeah.
Let him come give me 40, and then we can talk about it, right? Okay, so there you go. Okay, so Game 3 was back here in LA. The first two were there, and it was 1-1, and they had just won, had the Grizzlies in Memphis by 10, which prompted Dylan Brooks to say what he said. Before Game 3 out here in LA, just before tip-off, LeBron went all the way from his sideline huddle to their sideline huddle and tapped him on the shoulder, and I don't know exactly what he told him, but he told him something right in his ear about you want old me, you got old me. I'll clean it up, but you know and I know what he said probably to him. And from that point on, he destroyed Dylan Brooks. And Dylan Brooks was basically destroyed by all the attention heaped on his poor shoulders at that point because he wound up in those last games 3, 4, 5, and 6. He shot 6 of 27 from 3. That's 22%. And it did him in as a Memphis Grizzly. All right, so to me, Dylan Brooks, he shows you his insecurity because he doesn't think he's good enough in and of himself to make it in the NBA. He thinks he has to be an instigator, an antagonizer. He has to try to get under your skin the way Pat Bev gets under people's skin because Pat Bev came from nowhere. Nobody wanted Pat Bev. And he bounced around in Europe and he played over in Asia and finally he made it in the NBA, but he felt like he needed to antagonize. I think Dylan Brooks is good enough in and of himself, to Richard's point, to start this off. He even now for Houston, he's putting up career high numbers. He played 34 minutes a night and averaging career highs. He's shooting 57% from 3 as we speak. So my point is, I don't know why he thinks he needs to try to get under people's skin through the media. He doesn't do any social media, but he will use the media to try to antagonize before games. So when you antagonize that man, this is one thing about LeBron. If you studied his career, I love angry LeBron. I love it when somebody does get under his skin in a good way. Because if you go, I'm like a student of his career, but if you remember, there was a heckler one night in Atlanta that got to him, and he goes for 40. There was a heckler in Toronto in the front row that got to him, and he went for probably 40-ish. And there've been all, remember during the pandemic, the arena was empty, but there was a heckler who was a member of the Cleveland front office trying to antagonize him going to the fourth quarter. And he heard the remarks because the arena was empty, and he went off on his ex-team in the fourth quarter. Well, you better be careful because I would expect LeBron tonight, I don't know if he can give you 40 at this stage and age, but he could give you 35.
See, the thing with people like Dylan is you get the attention by going at LeBron. Just so happen, what if LeBron has a bad night? What if he just shoots the ball back? You get that credit. That's what happens to guys is they know they're outmanned with LeBron James or anybody that is great. And so you chirp, you win regardless because if he scores 40 on you, you would never go stop him anyway. And if he doesn't score 40 on you, you can always say, man, I slowed him down. Just think, and both of y'all will remember this. Remember the Kobe stopper? What happened to that?
Oh my God!
Remember that? Ruben Patterson. Ruben Patterson from Portland.
Yeah.
There was a couple of them, but he deemed himself as the Kobe stopper. I was like, huh? And then Kobe goes off on it, and then the rest is erased.
I mean, Raja Bell was pretty good. I mean,
Raja Bell was pretty good.
Yeah.